Hello and welcome to On Europa League Matchday, 8 last games in this group stage. So we have plenty to fight for, a lot of teams involved in the fight to get into the top 8 or into the playoffs. And as always, we have our dream team for the Europa League, Ronan Murphy, Alain Valnegri, to analyze the most important games, hopefully also to look for good odds, and just take your calculator because we are going to give you a lot of numbers to see which teams are going through. So stay tuned, guys. As always, tell us whatever you want to say and your predictions. And now let's go on with the show. Let's start with Midtjylland, Dinamo Zagreb. Midtjylland probably the biggest surprise in this Europa League so far. 16 points, 5 wins, 1 draw, 1 defeat against Roma. The draw was last week against Brann, and they have almost secured their spot in the top 8. They need a draw, and it should be enough for them. Zagreb with 10 points will go to the playoffs, beat 𝗛𝗲𝗏 4-1 to qualify. So here, Ronan, much more on stake for Midtjylland. We should back them playing in the cold.
Yeah, I think we should because they're on a good run at the moment. I know they haven't played competitively, but they are a team in the Europa League that are on a good run because they don't have a club game till February, but they were back in action last weekend against Brann, their fellow Scandinavian side, and that was their first competitive game since December. They were able to score 3 goals in that. It entertained 3-3 draw, but Dinamo Zagreb, they're also a team that they haven't played a lot because they had a winter break as well. So these are two teams that are maybe they're a bit fresher because they're coming in, but they're not match fresh, I suppose. So this could be an open-ended game because there is a lot on the line, like you've said. So both teams to score, yes, could be a good option here. It's happened 57% of the time this season for Midtjylland, 56% of the time for Zagreb. So pretty even there. So both teams score, yes, it's 167. But I'm also looking at the goals market. 𝗵𝗵𝗀, he's Midtjylland's top goal scorer so far this season, but he has a knee injury at the moment. He had knee surgery, I think. So he's out for the foreseeable future. So instead of him, 𝗀𝗻 he started instead. He scored against Brann in that 3-3 draw, like I mentioned. He got 4 in 4 matches in the qualifying for the Europa League. He has 5 in 4 in the Danish Cup. Somehow only has 1 goal in the league, but he hasn't been their starter necessarily in the league. But when he's played in cup competitions, he's scored lots of goals. Scored a hat-trick in the quarter-final to send him into the semi-final against Nottm. So yeah, I go for him as an anytime goal scorer. 𝗀𝗻, anytime goal scorer, 360, because he is their striker. There should be goals in this one, so why not?
Okay, -2, -3 for at the time of the kickoff. Alain, I guess if you are from Zagreb, you are not gonna get scared also from the cold and the snow. You are backing Midtjylland since they are the ones that have more on stake. Of course, also Zagreb, if they win, they should have an easier draw in the playoffs.
Yes, no, the team don't play nothing because Zagreb is not mathematical, but yes, they will pass to the next stage. Dinamo Zagreb is a team produce a lot, good attack, 12 goals scored in 7 games, and a lot of goals, like Zoran said, like for Midtjylland. Is the best attack in the competition. 16 goal score at the beginning. In my opinion, the team will be playing not with the high grade of competition, and maybe in the defense we will see some mistakes, not the attention team have, especially in out game, and for that reason I wait goal because both teams have really good player to score anytime during the game, and I choose over 2.75 goals, odds 1.88.
Okay, you both see goals in this first game in Denmark. Next one, Lille Freiburg. Here we have Lille in really poor form in Ligue 1 with 9 points in Europa League, so they need a win to secure the playoffs since they lost to Celta. It's 5 consecutive defeats in all competitions for 𝗀𝐿𝐴𝐻𝑒's men, and Freiburg with 17 points. They will be in the top 8, so much more on stake here. For Lille, well, there is a possibility, but it's almost impossible for Freiburg, Alain, to stay out of the top 8. What do you think about this one?
But it's difficult to understand and trust in Lille because Lille, the last weeks, we saw not the only sport problem with the board, with the fans. The atmosphere is really tense right now in Lille. Maybe Europa League can be the oxygen to this team. We don't saw a Lille with a clear average of points or stability since the beginning of the season. Is a young team, that one is true, but the last weeks, in my opinion, 𝐬𝐴𝐻𝐿 lose his history, and that one is difficult to trust. I was really surprised about the odds when I check when I prepared the show. Freiburg right now is better team than Lille in every analysis, collective, individual, moment of form, stability, experience in the competition. Yes, Freiburg. The only limit of Freiburg is they don't arrive to fighting for the Champions League, and that one is something heavy for the entity, because in Germany we have the last 10 years we have how many 10, 12, 13 teams play in Champions League, but Freiburg never play in Champions League, and this season it will be difficult. The only way is winning the Europa League, because they're far to the spot of Champions League in the Bundesliga. And yes, I don't trust in Lille. For that reason, I choose double chance 𝐿2 because it's a value bet for me, odds 1.93.
Indeed, I'm also surprised about these odds, Ronan, only because there is more on stake in the side of Lille.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think you kind of have to look at Freiburg and how much kind of recognition they're going to give this match, or how serious they will take it. And if they do line up with a strong team, if they don't decide to rotate much, which I don't expect they will, because they don't have that deep a squad. So it's not like they have loads of guys waiting in the wings, and that's probably why they have suffered a bit in the Bundesliga at times this season. Why, like Alain said, winning the Europa League is their best chance to qualify for the Champions League, because they're kind of the top 4, 5, 6 of the Bundesliga. They are the strongest teams. They are kind of a bit more set in stone, where Freiburg have the chance maybe of doing something historic in this tournament. And if they do come out and want to take 3 points again here, because like I said, they have 17 points at the moment, so they are more or less guaranteed that top 8 kind of spot. If they do decide that, yeah, do we want to win this match as well, then the odds look fantastic for Freiburg, because like Alain said, and he listed all the reasons on and off the pitch that Lille are kind of struggling at the moment, and you kind of wonder how long the head coach has left there if things don't change. This should be a great chance for Freiburg to win, and Freiburg to win at 4.10 looks really good, because they are coming up against a team who have lost every game in the last 5 games. So why not a 6 in a row? It is very possible. And I also like Alain's double chance for Freiburg at over 190. I think that looks pretty good.
They have +7 in the goal average, and they have 3 points more than Betis or Porto with 14. So it's almost impossible for Freiburg to miss the top 8. Here, let's check our smart bet tool for this one. Total goals over 2.5 goals is the tip, 1.92. Next game in Athens, Panathinaikos Roma, and here we have Roma with 15 points. It's a must win for Gasperini's men to get into the top 8. The draw could be enough eventually, but it's not for granted. They won the last 4 games in this competition, and they ended up drawing with Milan in Serie A, but they were the better team, especially in the first half. Panathinaikos with 11 points. They are going into the playoffs, and it's a team in crisis in the local league, Ronan. So here, actually, much more on stake in the case of Roma, because, again, Panathinaikos, they will go to the playoffs.
Yeah, that's it. If they lose here, it's not going to be the end of the world for them. Obviously, they have to focus on their own domestic league because they need to win that. They're expected to win that. Their fans expect them to win that. So this match maybe isn't as important in the grand scheme of things for them, where it is very important for Roma at the moment because they slipped up at the weekend, like you said, and they really should have won that one. I had a look to see how Daniel Malen would do. I watched it, and obviously I have interest in who the striker is for Roma. So Daniel Malen, he got a load of chances. He was the usual Daniel Malen that we come to expect. He missed most of them. That's what he tends to do.
He's doing well. He's doing well so far.
He gets into good positions, but sometimes his end product lets him down. He is an inconsistent player. He could go 5 games in a row where he scores in every game, and then he could go 7 games in a row where he scores in none of them. So that's the Daniel Malen that I saw at Borussia Dortmund. We saw at times at Aston Villa. Now maybe we'll see it at Roma, but he is ineligible for this one because he is a new signing for January, so he can't play to the knockout round. So him and Robinho Vaz, their other new striker signing, are both ineligible. They won't be able to play, so it's interesting to see then who does start, and maybe Evan Ferguson will get the start because he has impressed in this tournament. He scored twice against Celtic. He started the last 2 Europa League games, so maybe he could be an option as an anytime goal scorer. 310. He can do it. We've seen it on this stage. Panathinaikos are not as good as Celtic, so why couldn't they score here? And I'm also looking at Roma just to win this one. Roma, they've only conceded 5 goals so far in the Europa League. They're averaging 1 first half goal. Panathinaikos is half a goal in the first half. So Roma to win the first half is 245. And then a Roma full-time or half-time full-time is 290.
Okay, full trust in Roma, one of the favorites, Alain, to win this competition. Well, they have Ferencvaros, Betis, Porto, or Genk, for instance, behind, or Red Star. So again, they have to win to secure a spot, and almost with a draw is done, but not for sure.
Yes, Roma is the only team won every game away since the beginning of the Europa League. 3 games, 3 clear victory. Probably the best version of Roma in Europa League away. And yes, Panathinaikos is totally crazy. The only thing Panathinaikos is winning since Benitez came in Athens is the possession of the ball. But except that, the team is out of the top 4. In Greece, the format of the competition at the end of the season make a small playoff between the 4th better team. And right now, Panathinaikos is out. And that one means a really bad season, because stay out of that is not possible for an institution with the history of Panathinaikos, like Panathinaikos. And the team don't play nothing, because Panathinaikos is already qualified, no risk to get out, and Roma is second, and they maybe need a point to stay to be qualified, but I don't think Roma will go out of the top 8, and Roma is really favorite. In my opinion, Panathinaikos is totally focused in the Greek Super League, because they need to recover the point respect to 𝐿 and I don't think Benitez will be playing with his best team, and he will be made some turnover. For that reason, I choose Roma winning, odds 1.81.
Well, Roma much more things on stake to be in the top 8. Same for the next game. We have Porto Rangers. I guess this is almost a safe bet in this Europa League going for Porto, but it's very important for them to win 14 points, same as Betis, and only 1 goal less than Betis. So here they need to win, and if they score more goals, even better, Alain, against Rangers, that they are out already of this Europa League pitiful season. For them, Porto easy win, perhaps Asian handicap here for Porto could be a good idea.
Easy win, I don't know, but Rangers improve a lot in the last weeks. We saw a better team, and for the Rangers, is clear is more a travel for the team than go to compete in Porto. Porto is so important this game, but when do you see the team up? How many teams are in danger right now in this in journey and will be lose point or goals to give his spot to a Porto? It's difficult. It's really delicate. Maybe Braga, the game against 𝐿𝐴 is a classical game. You travel and you are sure to winning, and you lose 2 points. Or maybe Ferencvaros in England. The fact is, Porto need to win. Porto is in the best form of the season. It's a brilliant season for Porto. Porto the next week they will play against Sporting, and that one is a small final, because in case of victory, Porto probably will win against the Liga NOS. But in spite of that, I think Rangers will be play. Rangers don't have any pressure, and for that reason I choose both teams to score odds 2.10.
Yeah, nothing to play for Rangers with only 4 points. How do you see this one, Ronan?
Yeah, as anyone who watches the show knows, I always write off Rangers and I always write off Celtic, and I have been very correct in writing off Rangers in this combination, because they're one of the 6 teams who have been eliminated already. They have nothing to play for in this game, and yeah, like Alain said, maybe it's a bit of a holiday from Glasgow down to Porto for them. But yeah, Porto are coming into this on massive form. They had 10 games unbeaten, but Rangers 8 games. They had 8 wins in a row there themselves. So, but the only thing is, you look at some of the opponents, and it's Dundee, it's St Mirren, it's Annan Athletic. It's not Porto they're coming up against. But yeah, they haven't scored a lot of goals in this tournament so far. Only 4 so far in the Europa League. Porto have only conceded 6. So for that reason, I'm going against Alain. I'm going to go for a correct score of 2-0 at 6.50, and I'm also going for Porto to win 2-0 at 2.15.
All right, let's see if Porto can qualify for the top 8. They have to overscore Betis or expect Ferencvaros, Roma, Praga, Midtjylland not to win. Next one is Betis Feyenoord. Betis right now in the top 8, as I said, level on points with Porto. So for them, is a must win, and let's see also for how many goals, since Porto can also overtake them in the standings. Betis in poor form. They lost to Alavés again in La Liga. It's only 1 win in this 2026 in La Liga. Lost to PAOK 2-0, so a little bit in trouble. And Feyenoord 6 points. Ronan, they still have options to go to the playoffs, but it's very difficult actually. They have to win, and they have to expect Ludogorets or Celtic, for instance, not to win, and both have easy games at home. So it's very likely that Feyenoord get knocked out from this competition.
Yeah, it is. I didn't have the supercomputer numbers for the Europa League, so I couldn't run
your percentages. What is happening?
I couldn't run the 10,000 simulations to see what happened myself, but it's the guys at Opta that usually do that. But yeah, I'd say if we did have percentages, it wouldn't be very high for Feyenoord to make it through, whereas Betis, there's a good chance they will make the top 8. There's a strong chance they will. And that probably comes with their, not necessarily their recent form, but their home form. Their home form has been pretty good. 3 wins in a row at home. Before that, the defeat was to Barcelona, but they were able to score 3 goals in Barcelona. You imagine if you scored 3 goals in any game, they're going to win it, but they lost 5-3. They've had 1 draw and 2 wins at home in the Europa League, so their home form in the Europa League has been very good. Feyenoord, their away form recently, pretty bad. They've had no wins in their last 3 away games. Kind of looking at who maybe could score in this one. I like the look of Antony usually, because like Alain said on this show before, the Betis, if they had a world-class striker, they would be one of the best teams in the world. They don't have that. They do depend on Antony a bit. So he has 3 goals and 2 assists in 5 Europa League games so far. So him to score or assist is 157. Him to score outright, and Antony anytime goal scorer, is 250.
Well, they need a number 9 and perhaps also a better defense, Alain.
Yeah. Yes, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. It's curious to see Betis. You see the team. You see that the last season that they worked really well, but it's like Freiburg in Germany. They don't go to the Champions League, and they need to go to the Champions League. Right now, we don't know if Spain will have 5 spots. With 5 spots, they're in the run. But without 5 spots, is really difficult to see or pretend to see Betis in Champions like via La Liga. And after Betis, his neighbor is the king of Europa League, and that one is a big complex for Betis. And Betis must to have the ambition to try to win this Europa League. They have the quality, they have the squad, there are everything to try that. And yes, against Feyenoord is a market goal game in my opinion. Feyenoord has a really difficult months of December with a lot of critical to Robin van Persie, but in the last 2 games Feyenoord improved a little. Feyenoord don't fighting for the to be champions because PSV is so far right now, but they must to try to go back to the Champions League, and they are fighting with Ajax right now. The next game is against PSV in Eindhoven, and in my opinion, Van Persie, the priority is the Eredivisie to go back to the Champions League, because it's key for this type of team to go to the Champions League, to have that capacity to economic, to don't sold every summer his best player. Betis really favorites. I choose Betis winning with more than 2.5 goals in the game, odds 2.15.
Well, and if we check the standings on paper, the team not to qualify for the top 8 or is more difficult is Ferencvaros. They are 7th right now with 15 points, and they are going to Nottingham to play Nottm Forest, so they need to win. Otherwise, yeah, Betis, Porto, or Genk, or Red Star, they can overtake them in the standings. Nottm Forest are favorite for this game, but I guess, Alain, there is a caveat here. Nottm Forest, they are gonna go to the playoffs, yes or yes, and they should be focused also in the Premier League to stay safe. They've improved in the last weeks with the draw with Arsenal, the win in Brentford. So perhaps they pay more attention to the Premier League than to this game?
Yes, because at the end, the Premier, the revenue, the economic part in Premier is the key. You go to the Champions League is... in my opinion, is hardest go to the Champions League, to the Premier League sides, the Champions League, from the Championship to save the category in Premier. And Nottingham Forest, what happened the last summer? Because they spent a lot of money. Yes, the projects are not going in the right direction. The last season, it was one of the surprise in Premier League, and they do, in my opinion, a good market signing, but the team starts really bad and must to change the feeling. In the last games, we saw a really competitive Nottingham Forest against Arsenal. I see a strong team, a team have that capacity to suffer. And when you known to suffer, normally you save the category. After in Europe, English team arrive always in the last round in the Europa League. But there must to improve a little and put more focus to the competition. In change, Ferencvaros have a good opportunity to finish in the top 8. Ferencvaros lose his striker, his 𝗵𝗵𝗿𝗲𝗏, go to 𝐿 Athens in Greece, and that one can be affect a little the team. We saw in the last game losing against 𝗻𝐵. It was the biggest match in Hungary team, and 𝗻𝐵 right now is leader, but the distance is not so far, and Ferencvaros will be fight until the end. But for Hungarian team is important, and in the last season we saw a good version of Ferencvaros in Europa League, really competitive, and in spite of that, in my opinion, Nottm Forest have something more than Ferencvaros, and I choose Forest winning with over 1.5 goals, odds 1.95.
Well, Ferencvaros, one of the surprises of this Europa League, but it's going to be difficult for them to take the 3 points against Forest, Ronan, unless indeed Forest keep an eye on the Premier League. The main goal this season, of course, to stay again in the Premier League.
Yeah, it is obviously, like Alain said, that the money difference between the tournament, the Premier League, and getting relegated to the Championship is just astronomical. If teams who leave the Premier League and get relegated, you mightn't see them again for many years. So it's such a big gap in the market there. And yeah, the Premier League is on the Forest priority at the moment. And Ferencvaros, they are kind of competing on two spheres, like Alain was saying, they had slipped up when they came back to kind of Hungarian matches, and I think that's maybe because they're set up the way they're set up under Robbie Keane, and that's probably why he was successful with Midtjylland before in Europe, before he was successful with Ferencvaros in Europe, is because he sets them up as a team who can counterattack, who can take wait while the opposition has possession, but when they have possession and when they're expected to win matches, they just don't look as sharp, and that's maybe why they're not dominating the Hungarian league like you would imagine they should, because on paper their squad is much better than everybody else in Hungary, or a good bit better than everybody else, although they have sold some key players already this month. But I think that could play into their hands, the fact that Nottm Forest are a team that on paper are stronger than them, that should be able to win this one. And then when Ferencvaros can come up against teams like that, they're able to counterattack, they're able to score. The smart bet here, AI is giving 5 stars for a Ferencvaros double chance. I'm not saying that's definitely going to happen, but maybe we could see a high scoring draw. Both teams to score yes is 183. If you look at the average goals that these two teams have, Forest in the Europa League is 1.6, Ferencvaros is 1.7. They're up to 1.9 goals in the Hungarian league, so I think they could score twice here. So I really like to look up Ferencvaros over 1.5 goals at 375.
There is value on Ferencvaros. Of course, they are the underdog here, 5.7 to win if they want to finish in the top 8. The only team we haven't analyzed in this top 8 is Braga, playing against 𝐬𝐭𝐴𝐻, so we also expect them to win. So all of them are quite favorites to win, except Ferencvaros playing against Nottm Forest. That's why they look like the team to drop from this top 8. And in case they drop, we have Red Star, Celta Vigo, both with options to be in the top 8, slim options. For Celta, almost non-existent, and for Red Star, it's going to be difficult, but still they need to win here and wait some results. Great Europa League also for the Serbian team, beating Malmo, Stuttgart, Steaua and Lille. Won the last 4 games, actually 1-0 in the Europa League. Ronan, what to expect here?
Yeah, I think this could be a kind of low-scoring match compared to some of them, because both teams, and I know there's a chance of the top 8 for Red Star, but they're probably not going to make it, similar with Celta. So I think both these teams are just going to be playoff teams. Celta had been on a 7-game unbeaten run before they lost to Sociedad, so they had been on a really good run of form, so they obviously go pick up points here on the road. And Red Star, like you said, they've been they've been picking up points and winning matches and domestically and in Europe, but they're not picking up with huge victories or really convincing performances. They only beat Malmo 1-0 away last week, and that's kind of put them into this position. And I think they might be happy enough with a point here. Celta will be happy enough to pick up some points here. Celta double chances 167 and a draw. I'm not going to say do the Tom Rennie and say this screams a draw, but I do like the odds of a draw at 360.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. This one, we really like Celta. Alain, they screw it when they lost to Ludogorets, especially, and lose their chance, I think, to be a top 8 team.
Yes, but yes, I think Celta is one of the most funny team to see in Liga. The model of play is really offensive, with clear idea. The model of the board is beautiful, with young player, with those veteran like Iago Aspas and Borja Iglesias, and yes, they are fighting with Betis, and they don't have the same budget about Betis, but they compete with the idea and with the academy, who is really productive in Galicia. Now go to Belgrade is always difficult. This season, probably Red Star have the most experienced team they had in the last 10 years, with Krunic, with Arnautovic, with the same Katai. Yes, he's a competitive team. And we know his powder, and the same Radonic is back to Belgrade. Now is important to understand the ambition, because they are fighting with Partizan in a really short league right now. For Red Star is important, yes, Europa League, but they're known. It should be difficult to catch a spot in the first 8 position. For Celta is a beautiful game to play, because it's one of the most passionate stadium in Europe. In my opinion, Red Star will have something more with the ambition respect to Celta, and I choose double chance 1x with 2.5 goals in the game, odds 2.62.
Okay, you see it differently, since Alain is going for 1x and Ronan for x2 in this game. And the last game we are going to analyze is Stuttgart Young Boys. Stuttgart 12 points, very likely going to the playoffs, won all home games in this Europa League. Young Boys with 9 points. They could make it also to the playoffs, but they depend on other results like Celtic or Ludogorets. Very favorite here, Alain, Stuttgart to win.
Very favorite for any analysis possible. Collective, individual, moment of form, powder of his home league. Young Boys lose his last 7 games in Europa League, in Friendship, but in Swiss League. And the last weekend they lose the derby against Thun. Is actually in the 6th position, and stay in the top 6 is in a danger for Young Boys. Young Boys was built to compete the league. In Switzerland, they already changed one manager. Is the 2nd worst defense in Swiss league. Historically, Young Boys suffer a lot the game against Stuttgart. Not a lot of things change respect to the squad, respect to the last season when Stuttgart win 5-1 against Young Boys at home. Stuttgart, Ronan known better than me, is in a good moment of form. In Bundesliga, they lose only a game against Bayern, but who are not losing against Bayern right now in competition to stay in the next championship. The vibes are really positive in Stuttgart, and the game in Rome was an accident in my opinion. Stuttgart is really favorite for this game, and Stuttgart don't is difficult to see Stuttgart in the top 8, but Stuttgart wants to win this game, and I choose Stuttgart winning with both teams to score, because Young Boys is able to score odds 2.70.
Well, Young Boys need to win because we expect Celtic to beat Utrecht at home. We expect 𝐿𝐴 to beat Nice. Nothing to play for here for the French team. So if these two things happen, Ronan, Young Boys will be out of the playoffs.
Yeah, they are kind of in a really kind of dangerous position at the moment, and they're in really bad form at the moment. So there isn't a lot of things pointing to that changing for Young Boys, for things turning around. Because like Alain said, the last time they played, it was only like 14 months ago, and Stuttgart won 5-1. And I don't think Young Boys have gotten better since then. I don't think Stuttgart have necessarily gotten that much worse since then. So I'm not saying it's going to be 5-1 again, but Stuttgart are a team capable of scoring lots of goals against anybody. Could be Gladbach 3-0 at the weekend. I suppose that the only team that maybe are not capable of scoring goals against is Rome, when they played Roma last week in Rome. But yeah, Young Boys, they're on a terrible run. They're conceding loads of goals. They lost so many games in a row, like Alain said, but they've conceded 3 or more goals in 4 games in the Swiss Super League in the last 4 games in that time. So this is not a team that look like they are prepared for this, that look like they're ready for a match like this. I can see Stuttgart with another big win here, not necessarily 5-1. I'm not going for a minus 3.5, but I will go for Stuttgart aging handicap minus 1.5 out of 92.
All right, well, this is our tour for Europe in this Thursday Europa League. Plenty of options for you to bet on, and plenty of games to be entertained. Again, a lot of combinations to see which teams are going to make it into the top 8 and into the playoffs. Guys, remember, as always, that we have our tipster competitions there for you, options to make money and completely for free to participate. And of course, also check out Rivals and create your tipster competition. Ronan, let's go with your safe bet.
My safe bet is Porto to win at 130.
Yes, I said it was a safe bet before. And Alain?
For me too. Porto winning 130 odds.
Yeah, it is a safe bet. Ronan, your ACCA?
My ACCA also includes something else that could be a safe bet, which is Stuttgart to win. But my ACCA is Porto to win, Lyon to win, and Stuttgart to win at 305.
All right, Lyon playing PAOK. Lyon topping this Europa League table together with Aston Villa. Alain?
Aston Villa, Salzburg over 2.25 goals. Genk winning, Stuttgart winning, and 𝐿𝐴 winning for a total 4.89.
Okay, Genk Malmo as well. They also want to be in the top 8. The Belgian team, they have to beat the Swedish Malmo. Okay, Alain, thank you. Ronan, thank you. See you soon. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Ciao.
Bye.